And she is more or less the same like Pamir, Passat, these ships, you know. You will not believe that, but I was really like a monkey. Yeah, I was, but not anymore, I can say. but it was good, yeah. I have never, in my whole career, experienced any serious accidents.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
Jarle Lehmkuhl
Yeah.
means Minister Lehmkuhl. And he bought the ship from England.
I was named after a minister.
Yeah, and this minister, he bought the ship from England in 1921.
Yeah.
And then she has been in Bergen ever since.
Phoenix Reisen TV ist heute in Stavanger und mittendrin im Treff der Großsegler. Dazu sind wir mit unserem norwegischen Kapitän Jarle Lehmkuhl verabredet. Und der hat ja lange Zeit auf der bekannten Staatsrat Lehmkuhl als Kapitän gearbeitet. Und die schauen wir uns jetzt mal an.
Hei, hei.
Hei, god dag. Godt å se deg.
Ja. Jeg kommer jo med helt... hei, hei. Jeg kommer med helt TV-team med meg. Fra Amadea. Ja. Good, yes, you.
Hei, hyggelig å se deg.
Ja, veldig. Det var lenge siden.
Very good.
Yes, so chief engineer.
Så du har vært med på?
Ja,
So actually, Captain, what do you miss?
I miss the ships, the people, and let's say the tall ship community. It's a very, very nice community because it's friendly people and not always serious, but friendly.
And how is it to get back to your ship to see Staatsrat Lehmkuhl?
It's very nice, and very nice to see that everything is in very good shape still, and she's always well maintained and looked after. And you can see that people who are working here, they do it with the heart.
How is life here on this ship, on this sailing ship?
This is a good life. It's lots of dedicated and positive and good friends and people and colleagues. So I think that's the best thing about it. And of course the beautiful ships and the possibility to be outdoors and fresh air and lots of beautiful scenery and fun sailing, and yeah, it's a good life.
It's a privilege to find a profession which is, let's say, able to pay your bills, but also gives something more. You know, that you feel that it has a kind of a meaning in a bigger perspective. That is already a big privilege. Not everybody can say that.
And what is the difference to work on a sailing ship and to work on a cruise ship?
The difference is that, let's say, on a cruise ship, you take all possible and sometimes impossible technology to make people feel that they are at home. So they are not exposed to the nature. You have windscreens, you have air conditioning, you have stabilizers, you have swimming pool to make it as comfortable as possible. A sailing ship is somehow at the other extreme end of the scale, where you are exposed directly to the nature, and that is a completely different feeling. You have to work with the wind, the nature, the environment, and which is nothing to be afraid of. It's just something to respect. And then we had a few experiences together, which was quite heavy, but I think we can say for both of us that we were never afraid.
Man i tillegg har sånn noenlunde god helse da, så
Ja,
man jo...
ja. Det må til. Normally there is one officer on duty, and he is then following and monitoring everything inside here, and of course he's out on deck as well. But the helmsman and the lookout, they're always outside.
How big is your crew?
Now we are approximately 25 altogether. We have some. We have the permanent crew, of course, the engine department and the galley department and deck department, and officers.
When you are on a winning ship like this, then it's very motivating.
Yeah.
Because no, but I'm saying it in a serious way, because this ship really has the potential to win all the races and to set records, and that is of course giving a very let's say, it's a very strong motivating factor.
And you set records with this ship
in
2014.
Yes, I did, and I was excited about that, and I hoped and believed that the record would stand for some years, but I was wrong. So no, so no,
Welcome to life.
so no, but just to have had the feeling once in your life to have been the best, it's fantastic. And nobody is the best forever. This cannot happen. But just once in the lifetime, that in this moment in the history, I was the best, even if it's only for a few minutes, it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm now very pleased that at least it's the same ship which has the record. That's already something. Now it's one mess room, and this in my time was mostly used for meetings.
Yeah.
Ja. Men see you. Ja, takk igjen du. Ja. This is Großherzog Fredrik August,
Yeah.
who was building the ship. This is Minister or Statsråd Lehmkuhl. And then it was one critical point in the history of the ship where they were nearly selling her out of the country. And then a ship owner, Hilmar Rexen, was buying the ship, and he gave it as a gift to the non-profit foundation, which is now the owner of the ship. Very often we have heard that people are coming from cargo ship or even ferries, and they are so afraid to be seasick, and then they are almost surprised that they don't have seasick here.
Yeah.
And that is because it's somehow a logic in the movement. So, I mean, we are still connected to the nature somehow.
Yeah.
At least I prefer to believe.
Yeah.
So this is then where all the trainees are living, and we can take up to 150 in these two rooms.
Kapitän Flatebø war ja hier auf der Staatsrat Lehmkuhl von 2004 bis 2016 immer mal wieder Kapitän und hat hier auch die Kadetten ausgebildet. So haben sie hier geschlafen in dieser Art von Hängematten. Das ist so ein kleiner Spind, den man dann eben auch hat, und nicht viel, recht spartanisch. Hier isst man, lebt man und verbringt seine Freizeit. Ein deutsch sprechender Matrose hier auf der Staatsrat Lehmkuhl, ein Däne zudem. Wir freuen uns, dass wir dich hier als Matrose begrüßen dürfen, natürlich auch mit in Zusammenarbeit mit unserem Captain. Viele Jahre zusammengearbeitet, wie war's?
Wirklich, wirklich schön und inspirierend. Also Jarle, er ist ja der Kapitän auf die Segelschiffe. Ich kann mich da erinnern, dass mehrere von den Kadetten, die hier an Bord gesegelt mit Jarle, nach den ersten Cruise haben sie geschrieben, als Tätowierung haben sie eine Tätowierung gekriegt, wo es steht, was würde Jarle jetzt tun?
Nein, wirklich?
Ja. Jarle war wirklich für uns alle der große Vater, der uns gelernt hat, wie man es hantieren muss, wenn irgendetwas so nicht richtig funktioniert. Und das passiert zu oft auf einem Segelschiff. Für mich war eine große Inspirierung. Und ich weiß auch, dass das so war für die anderen, die mit ihm gesegelt haben. Zum Beispiel habe ich gesehen, wie er eine ganze Mannschaft nur zwei oder drei Wörter erzählen konnte, und dann haben alle gewusst, was sie tun mussten und auch, was sie nicht tun mussten.
So this is the forecastle, and here we have the old bell from the time when the ship was built.
Yeah.
And altogether we have 22 sails and 2,000 square meter. And in order to manage the ship in the proper way, you need minimum 25 people on deck at all time. And that, which means that the good minimum figure of cadet is 75. We can carry up to 150, but you can manage the vessel with 75. You can bring her up to like 17, even 18 knots. it's a little bit too much sails then maybe. So a good speed, safe speed is, maximum speed is like 16 I would say. And she sails also well in light wind. She easily comes up to like 5-6 knots. In this wind, with all the sails set, she will probably do like 8 to 9 knots. And all these sails are controlled from here.
Ja.
So these are the sheets on the side here. And so when we are tacking or changing the course, then we always need a group here.
Wir waren in Bergen und Jarle hat da geplant, dass wir als einziges Schiff, so wie heute im Tall Ships Race, aussegeln müssen. Und das war ja natürlich groß für alle. Nicht nur für uns, aber auch für das Festival. Aber wir haben es nicht hingekriegt. Ein Leichtmatrose hat vergessen, ein Seil loszumachen auf das hochste Segel. Und das hat alles gestoppt. Und dann hat Jarle auf dem Deck gesagt, hör mal zu, ihr braucht nicht auf ihn zu gucken, wir können noch alle die anderen Segel hochziehen. Okay? Ja. Und dann haben alle wieder weitergearbeitet und danach haben wir es hingekriegt. So war Jarle. Er hat nichts gerochen, er hat überhaupt nicht auf irgendeine Weise, er war nicht gestresst auf irgendeine Weise, er hat einfach nur gesagt, was wir nicht tun sollten, sondern was wir tun sollten. Und das hat funktioniert. Und da kann man natürlich sagen, wenn man da nicht war, dann ist es natürlich ein bisschen, wie kann man das sagen, das ist vielleicht schwer zu verstehen, aber man muss ja daran denken, dass alle haben da 10.000 Menschen, die rangucken, dass wir es nicht hingekriegt hatten. Aber Jarle, ihm hat das überhaupt gar nicht, gestresst. Er hat einfach nur gesagt, was er sagen musste. Und dann haben wir es hingekriegt. So war Jarle.
These yards, as we say, they can be turned, you know. And then when you turn them, then you follow and take, like we said, the maximum out of the wind you have. I'll show you something here because then you get the understanding. So then, as you see here, then these are going up, you know.
Ja.
And then you slack on the other side, and then you can change the angle.
Okay.
You can see the sails hanging there. So they are hanging in these ropes, and then the people have to enter to somehow pack the sail on the yard.
So you have to be strong.
Yeah, you have to be strong. Mentally. I sammen altså. Vi hadde det, ja. Vi hadde det.
Was macht einen guten Kapitän aus?
Ein guter Kapitän, er muss natürlich ein guter Segler sein, das ist klar. Aber er muss auch akzeptieren, er muss auch die Einstellung haben, dass was wir jetzt nicht hinkriegen, das müssen wir lernen. Nicht alle Kapitäne verstehen das, aber er schon. Die Jarle Lehmkuhl ist ja das größte norwegische Schiff. Sie ist deutsch gebaut und deshalb rostet sie auch nicht. Das ist das Erste, was man sieht. Das Nächste, das man da sieht, ist, dass sie nur 3 Masten haben. Wenn du auf die Kreuzenstern guckst oder die Seedorf, die russischen Schiffe, da haben sie 5 Masten. Deshalb sieht es so aus, als ob sie größer seien. Aber eigentlich haben sie nur eine große Erregung. Die Jarle Lehmkuhl ist der größte 3-mastige Bark. Und das ist unik. Nicht nur in Norwegen, aber auch in der Welt.
Werdet ihr am Sonntag gewinnen?
Also, wenn wir richtiger Wind haben, dann ja. Und wenn ich richtiger Wind sage, dann meine ich viel Wind. Sturm oder Meer.
Aber die besten Voraussetzungen geschaffen, oder?
Ja, also so schönes Wetter, wie wir jetzt haben, wollen wir nicht. Wenn wir segeln, dann wollen wir ein richtiges schlechtes Wetter. So war es auch mit Jarle.
As you see, there's 2 helms. So that is from the old days, because when the waves were hitting the rudder and you have heavy sea, it was a chain and it was so heavy to hold that you needed 4 people. For some people it's a little bit illogical that the position is so far behind and that you don't see anything in the front. But the important thing when you are at sea is to see the sails, the direction of the wind, the waves, and how the ship is moving. So then this is, of course, a perfect position. And moreover, it's much more protected. So you really need to have very, very strong and high waves before the water start to come in over this deck. It can happen, and it has happened, but...
And how high these waves have to be?
Before they hit here, like 10 meter, then you could be exposed to water on deck.
Have you ever had this experience?
Yeah. I can say that I have been out in all kind of weather, and the hurricane is like 64 knots of wind. The most I have had on this one is 85 to 90. Actually, after 55 to 60 knots of wind, there is nothing to do anymore. You just have to follow the nature then. But you need to be prepared for that. And if you have made a correct preparation and have a good ship like this, it's absolutely safe.
You're gonna make it.
Yeah.